That's right. Welcome back. This is Abandoned Planet. My name is Joe, and I go by the name A Millennial's Third Eye. I'm your host, as always. I hope you're not disappointed. I'm not. This is where I like to speak my truth, share my experiences, tell you stories, help you see things differently, share what I've learned. Maybe I also, discover. But in the meantime, you're welcome to also abandon your planet in the sense of which you were forced to take these programs from 7 years old and you didn't know who you really are until, years later. Maybe you had a spiritual awakening or whatever. Welcome to this episode. We got a lot to talk about. One of my favorite things, I found this little chalkboard. I would show you guys in the video, but it's like oh yeah, by the way, I've posted the episodes of the podcast on YouTube, and I have also updated my YouTube channel. So if you want to find this on YouTube and see the video version, it's, you go to YouTube and then you type in abandoned planet or hashtag abandoned_planet. Let's not make this complicated. Anyways, I will show you guys, but maybe I'll share a picture or something. But I was inspired to write on it with I put an I on top, and I put, your power is in the words you're afraid to speak. So speak fearlessly. A lot of what I've been learning and experiencing is like this whole freedom for myself and taking my power back, which I really am excited to share with you. There's also some things I'm kind of annoyed with. So I don't really know how I want to talk about it yet, but I'm going to talk about it because I want to. And also a little bit of ADHD. That's what's going to be on this episode. So if you're interested, this is what's going to happen in this episode so far from what I know. Taking my power back, speaking my truth, being fearless, freedom, ADHD, talking about some stuff that's kind of annoying me as well. Who knows where this really goes? The whole goal here, especially before I jumped onto to record this, was like, I have an idea of what I want to do, but which one's the best one? I just get tired of like getting in my way of things, so I just jumped on, and after like 7 takes of the introduction, I'm like, hey, this is Abandoned Planet. I finally did it. We started it. After it starts rolling, I'm in it. We're here. And that's usually the good sign. After I get past like 3 incorrect, or I'm not feeling the intro to this, I don't know, 3, what do they say? 3 times the charm with like Nikola Tesla does everything in threes. Maybe that was it. This is the best timeline. So let's start with the recap of my weekend. I had a great weekend. Shout out to my buddy Joe. He threw a great party. I was invited to help out and set things up before people got there. With my chef experiences, I was asked to assist in the hummus making, the guacamole making, and also the burger seasoning and preparation. All of which, being told, they were all delicious. And for some reason, I have this weird thing with compliments with my food. And it's very bothers me because like I'm very grateful. But a part of me internally is like, yeah, it's no big deal. Thanks. Appreciate it. Like, nah, it's all good. Like, it's nothing. And I keep being told like I need to do something with food. Like I have 9 years or 10 years experience now with cooking. Of course, I get it. But isn't it weird when you do something so well, but you get complimented and you're like, yeah, it's no biggie. But a part of your brain's like, that's nothing, man. One of the reasons why I loved cooking was when I was younger, I was kind of jealous that a friend of mine that we played baseball together, town baseball. It was like back in the day. We were on our way to go to batting cages, and I found out he knew and was allowed to make pancakes at home, and I wasn't. Didn't know anything about making pancakes at home and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I was fed well, but I wanted to do things on my own time with food, and that was one of the reasons why later on, I think, besides being an Italian around family and constantly around food and every holiday, it's just like so many levels of different things. I'm at an age now in my life where I enjoy the foods, but I can't eat all of it. I can't have it all. Like I'll have heartburn at night. Shout out to anyone, fellow Italian Americans out there, Sicilians and stuff, because I'm Sicilian. Unless you're one of those people that are like, oh no, I'm not Sicilian. I don't really care. I don't care. If you're Italian, you know what, clap your hands or whatever. We can celebrate in our own ways. But if you're one of those people that you have a whole table of food and you're like, oh, it's so good, and you're at that age now, you're like, oh, I know. I haven't really tried the heartburn pills yet or anything. I have the Italian remedies at home, but in the middle of the night, you wake up, and you're like, oh, you feel like you're being choked by like hot sauce in your throat, which is weird because I didn't have any hot sauce. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like you're being like, it's like a spiritual attack on Italians. It's like, we're going to get you with heartburn demon. Anyways, so back to the weekend. I had a great time. My buddy Joe had like a 2-day thing and made some food. The food was great. We also put together a nice drink mix, which I guess is called booty juice, lose booty juice, something like that. Booty juice. It was good. I forgot how many I had, and I got wrecked. It was great though. I'm really cool. I'm comfortable with myself drinking, and I know like when I want to, if I do or not. And obviously, I was safe. I had a great time. Talked to so many different people. It's really fun when there's a variety of people around you, and you're comfortable. You're just talking, have a good time. And one of the reasons I'm really glad that this happened when it did, just like a day or so before, I reached a new level. I reached a level of awareness where I thought about things recently, and I've been here before. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been through an awakening. I've been through different stages of life, and I feel that we evolve and we kind of come back around to learn more. And I reached another placement where it's like, all right, I remember this thought process of like, why do I care so much about what other people think? And what I mean by that for you at home is like, for me, like, look, I've been unemployed for a while. And a part of me was like, I already knew that this was going to happen anyway, but a part of me felt insecure. I don't know about you, anyone at home, or maybe somewhere in your life. You don't have to have the same experience, but you think, wow, well, what are people going to think about me? Being single or dating, or what you have or what you don't have, your living situation, your finances. And it really, like, the truth is, regardless, it doesn't matter. And the reason why I say that is because we all have to love ourselves. We all have to be able to be like, you know what? I'm happy with who I am. This is who I am. And I'm happy. Like, we feel, I guess for a while, the insecurity and the self-worth issues were where I was dealing with. And life has its journey for us. We're going to go through different things and experience different things. So what you have or don't have, it doesn't matter to me. And this party gave me this opportunity, which was really interesting because another friend of mine was like, what's it like being unemployed? And most people would think, well, it's like hurtful to ask. It wasn't. I'm actually kind of glad he asked that because it gave me the ability to speak my truth on what I'm talking to you about right now. And like, it's like, you know what, whether you're single, whatever you don't feel like you don't have. And that's what I was telling him. I was like, I'm not going to lie. At first it felt freeing, and then it felt like maybe I suck. And it really doesn't. We get in our heads about what we think is wrong in our life. And sometimes there's situations where it is really difficult. It really does suck and it's not happy. But these are different challenges we can go through to really start to learn to detach from what I would say the old thinking, the world that we live in where people are so separated and thinking in different ways of, what's good and what's not good. And you learn to really love yourself. And that's what I've been doing, is separating myself from people. And I'm going to get into that later, from people that aren't good for me or I don't feel like are beneficial or a positive influence in my life, friends or whatever. But also retracting myself from giving my energy in the wrong places and also overexpending my energy. But right now, the whole party thing gave me this ability and the experience to really say, you know what? I'm not afraid to be me. I'm not ashamed to be myself. I love myself. And that's what I want to share with you right here. Besides me telling you like this party this weekend was great, this past weekend, and we had food, I met people. I wasn't in my head. I'm someone who is sometimes in my head and my thoughts, and it gave me the opportunity to be present in the moment and not be afraid to think or feel, wow, what if they think this of me? What if they think that maybe I'm not cool enough or something? I think we can all think differently. What if I don't have my life together? I'm someone who thought about that often. What if I don't have my life together? What are you going to think? And that is a very powerful moment or experience to take with you and grow upon. And that's not just like with people, that's with money, your career, your bills. Learning to be present in this moment, whatever moment you're in, whenever you listen to this in this moment, you're listening to it. Maybe you're someone who is having some sort of difficulty with something. If not, keep listening. Well, there's more to go. Maybe you're like, oh, this is, because we live in a world right now where it's like divine timing. Whoa, I'm so glad that popped up and it came across this my reality. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool. It's fun when you experience that. You're like, wow, the universe provided. How did that happen? How did you know, universe? And I say that in all honesty, like truth, because years ago when I was going through my awakening and had these like intense experiences, I didn't know what was going on with me. And eventually the universe was like, all right, you're ready to, but also it has to do with your intention, where you're focusing your thoughts and desires. But yeah, it came across, the video for me that came across was, here's 20, I think it was like 30 or 20 signs you're an earth angel. And the first look, I found videos before that weren't like, they're like, you just know that like something's not. And that gave me like a whole list of reasons. I was like, whoa, yeah, that's all of the stuff I'm dealing with. So back to what I was saying, I do have ADHD or ADD. So maybe if you're following me at this point, you get what I'm saying. You too understand. But back to what I was saying about this whole being present. Being present, I want you to think about your energy as this ball of energy. You never see those things at the store where if you touch the ball, the one static thing goes to your finger. It's like a whole bunch of static, but you touch it. Well, don't touch it, okay? I'm just kidding. But but think about that ball of energy as where you're focusing or expending your energy, and that could be on worrying, it could be on overthinking, it could be, the more you hone it, you hone your self-love, you hone your focusing on being able to be present and not being distracted, being able to enjoy a movie or enjoy this moment. That's what I'm talking about here. And one of these levels per se has been on not letting, the fears, worries, doubts, or insecurities or judgment of other people get to you. And my next thing is definitely speaking my truth. I mean, I talked about it before, but I'm going to say it again. Like, you can't be afraid to say what you really want to say. And what I'm noticing around other people too is like communication. I think sometimes some people think that they are communicating, but it's more like interrogations. I am communicating, but really you're just like asking intense questions to see like where their head's at. Sometimes you got to be like, hey, this is how I really feel and what I'm thinking, versus like, what'd you do this week? Why are you not talking to me? Like, and I say that with love. Like, there's someone I know that was kind of in this scenario, but I say this in the positives. Like, we all need to learn from each other. And I really want to emphasize on this too. Everything happens to us for us. When something is happening that's uncomfortable or has been uncomfortable, why is the universe providing this opportunity for you? What is it you really need to get across? Maybe like the universe is like, hey, like, you're telling me this is what you want. I know that you don't say what you want, you say what you have. But let's say you're telling the universe what you want, and the universe is like, I really need you to kind of like communicate better. And so the universe provides you with a person. Maybe you're asking like, hey, I kind of want this person in my life and I want to be happy with them. But then the universe provides that with you, but it's not fully what you were wanting. So what does that mean? Well, maybe we need to learn how to communicate. I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm saying like, we all get lessons provided to us. Does everything have to be a lesson? No. I think people are like, let's delete my soul contracts forever. No, you can't do that. Like, a soul contract is literally like a person can hold a door for you at the gas station while you're, oh, hey, like, here, and you say thank you. That's a soul contract. You can't just delete all. It's a part of your reality and experiences. Oh, I guess we're going down this direction. I didn't plan on anything really. I just wanted to talk, damn it. But when you make a decision and you go somewhere, do something, like, there's contracts within the reality of how that's going to unfold for you. People at the store, like, there's just things we can't just like, don't overthink it. Okay. But the reason why I'm saying this too is because there's other things that are kind of annoying me. But I say this with love, like for myself, when people annoy me or I like learn from it, I also reflect back. Okay, what did I also need to learn about this? If they're bothering me, if this happened, what do I need to learn about it? And so I learn about it and then I talk about it. But what I really want to share with you is this weekend was great, right? This past weekend was great. Talked with a lot of people. I felt more free. Freedom to be myself. Freedom is really beautiful. It's really, without overthinking it, freedom really is the comfortability to be who you are, to say what you want to say, to do what you want to do, with obviously with some sort of respect to other people and boundary with the world. But at the same time, like not feeling limited to say what you really want to say and also what you really want to like tell people. Or think about it this way. Let's say you go to the party. Let's say you're at the party with me and you know who you are, but when you're there, you feel like you're nervous. You don't know people, which is what, I didn't know people, certain people I didn't know. And that's what I'm talking about. Being able to walk into a room, comfortable, be yourself, even though you don't know everyone. You're not limiting or trying to put on a mask to be liked. And I find that a lot of people, and that's why I stepped away from a lot of people. Listen, if you're one of those people that I no longer talk to you, but you're watching this or you're listening to it, love you, but there's different reasons why I chose to do it. But reason number one is because I found a lot of, I don't want to use the word fake because fake is kind of like really, really throwing darts there. I found people who were really fake. And look, the truth is that there's people trying to be happy and successful while doing the same thing, not being honest, not being real to themselves. What I mean by this is, and this really irritates me, I don't know about you guys, but when I started to discover the reasons why, I was like, when you like just don't like someone, or maybe you were friends with them or you did like them, but something just changes, right? Sometimes things change. But out of nowhere, you'll be like, what is going on with this person? Why do I feel the way I do? And what I discovered was my energy cannot stand when people aren't being real to themselves. I didn't understand sometimes the more I learn and love myself, the later on. But there's people that genuinely like do love themselves to the best of their abilities, because we're learning in layers or levels of awareness. But there's a certain point of individuals where they're genuinely like they are delusional to their true self. There's people who are doing their best to be their true self while learning more, but they're not aware of maybe certain things. But then there's people, and this is what really pissed me off. This is what happened, and I want to talk about it. Someone that I was close with, I suggested that they do a spiritual bath. And the bath is, I don't want to talk about it. I gave them a name for it. And this is the common bullshit that's happening in spirituality too. It really pisses me off, and it's really stupid. And a lot of people want to copy each other. Well, I was in there live, and there's someone who makes things and they're trying to be successful and they're trying to do well. And someone goes, "Oh, what is that thing you made?" And they named the bath that I had mentioned, but it wasn't a bath. They made like an oil or potion or whatever. And I knew right away, I was like, this person didn't even know the ingredients for the bath. I know that they don't know this because I was the one who brought it to their attention. It's in a different language. So it really irked me that not only did they not know what the ingredients were or what it was for, they just decided to look it up in Google and make something and sell it when they were the one who needed it. On top of that, these individuals that I'm talking about, or this person I'm talking about, speaking my truth, I'm not going to say their name, but one of the things that I'm grateful that this happened because it really helped me see things I needed to see. And I got tired of like not being able to speak my truth or make decisions. I was tired of not wanting to say something with hurting someone's feelings. And, these are people who will continue showing up on social media, or people who are hiding behind a mask. And they're talking about, I've been there. I've been there where it's like, hey, you really need to do this, or I'm doing a reading. And then I hear the message is also for me. I've been there, but I'm also aware that the message was for me too. There's people out there telling you what you need to do. Meanwhile, they're not doing that shit for themselves at home. They're sitting there trying to be super uncomfortable while trying to be comfortable about, oh yeah, things at home. No, like I asked this person too. I was like, can I ask you a question? Like, are you happy? And they're like, yeah, I'm happy. I was like, no, I mean like with everything. Like, oh no, I'm really not doing great. And why are we all trying to be something else on social media is what I want to know. Like, it doesn't matter how much money I have right now. It doesn't matter what my status is. I'm being true to myself. But why? And this is not just this person. There's like a lot more people out there, not just the people I'm talking about or I know in my head right now. There's other people that are trying. Why are we doing this? And I'm not just saying this to be negative. I'm saying that for people in general, when we go back to this topic of being in power, being in your power. What I meant by that earlier was, why are you limiting yourself when you go into another room? Like, this is who you are. Oh, your brain switches into this, like, I don't know them. I don't want to say the wrong thing. There's situations. But my point is, a lot of us, and I'm sure a lot of you too, have felt this. And a lot of the reason is because of our past experiences. We're afraid you get hurt, right? When you're vulnerable, you're open, you get hurt and you close off. And a lot of us are learning to get past grieving, open up more, be free to be ourselves again, learning more boundaries and issues. Like, you have to be okay with, one of my favorite people is actually Mike Posner, the musician, the artist. He was talking about how someone was like touching him and asking him to like move so they could take a picture. And he like was cool. And then he was like, don't touch me. Like, he got mad. And then he went back to being cool again. And we have to be okay with knowing our boundaries, speaking our truth. But, on top of that, this person I'm also talking about who took the advice I gave him and just made something else with it and completely copied me, also went into like editing their videos and it looked just like mine. So I learned that it was weird though, because I stepped away. And after I stepped away is when I learned. I was feeling it. And then I was like, what's going on? Like, then I disconnected. And I learned that my energy needs to be respected and appreciated. I need to stop like going to other people in ways where I think they're helping me, but they're really like taking advantage of my energy, taking advantage of my kindness. We were supposed to do something together. And the truth is that I noticed that they were promoting all this other stuff and not promoting our thing together. And I was like, I realized that they were just throwing stuff. They're throwing stuff out there to buy, to do this. And it's a bunch of other people. Like, I can sit here and talk about people I'm aware of that's doing this. Am I saying this in a bad way to like shame them? No, my whole point is, why are we trying to be other things? Like, I have gone through this process, right? I'm still learning more about myself. I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone. I'm not saying that people should be shamed. But all I'm saying is, no matter who you are, we're learning to not only discover who we are, right? That's part of the process. Through discovery of who we are, we have to go through this. So we're going to go through things. When you liked someone back in the day and you were like, I heard that so-and-so liked this. So you became like a super fan and you learned there's like those embarrassing videos of people learning how to dance to NSYNC because the person that they like loves NSYNC or something. Those cheesy things. We did things that we didn't know we were doing or why we did it. There's things that also we have done wrong. I'm not a perfect person. I've made mistakes. And I think that this is where we have to be comfortable. You have to be comfortable with your choices that you've made, the embarrassing things you did. You have to be okay with it and make peace with it. That's a part of the whole healing process too. I'm not going to sit here and say it's like super easy, but it's super easy. No, I'm just kidding. It's not super easy. For me, I realized through this, right? Through people who are like masking their true difficulties. Because here's a part of what I mean by this. And I'm not just saying like there's differences. There's people that don't realize that they're not healing properly, but that the spiritual community is really annoying because they're sitting there giving authentic life coaching advice when they're not doing a damn thing about their own personal shit, when that's really facing your fears. Face your fears. Stop avoiding it And I don't want to be around people anymore that aren't being genuine to themselves. You know what really irritates me too? This is really annoying. The friends that I'm there for, they'll be there. It's either vice versa or one way or another. There's certain people that are different. But there's people that refuse to ask you for help as a friend. They refuse to call you. But I'm the type of person like, hey, you know what? I'm tired. I need to talk it out somewhere. And by talking it out eventually, and I'm like, hey, it might be a little annoying. Is it okay? That's what friends are for, man. But I'm tired of people who are like, that I know that they need help, or I would be there to help, but they don't want to ask for help. No. They rather just cover their, and I get it. I'm not saying, again, I'm not sitting here trying to talk shit. I'm saying, yo entiendo. I get it. My goal right now is to trigger the shit out of people or help people without triggering them. You have to learn, and we all have to learn. Number one, things happen to you for you. So you can't keep getting upset about people that, let's say you're dating, and it keeps happening and happening and happening. Eventually you have to go, this keeps happening. Okay. What is the lesson or things I need to learn through these experiences? So what's the common thing? What happens is you'll learn maybe that there's a past trauma. Maybe your parents' love, there was abandonment. Look, you can't just do this by yourself. Sometimes you need to find either a life coach, a therapist. Therapy is great. And sometimes spirituality isn't the level. You need to take it to another level. You need to go to therapy. I'm just giving you my personal advice. It's not bad, but we need to find out why these things keep happening, because they happen to us for us to learn from. If there's a lack of happiness, a lack of money, a lack of alignment is when things are lit up. You're lit up. And to me, lit up is being free to be yourself. You're happy and you know it. You clap your hands. You are free you're happy in the present moment. You're not being pulled away. Things are coming to you in a nice a flow. And again, including myself, I want you all to know this. There's reasons why I'm also talking about it. And I said it before, just in case you missed it. I've also kind of done this already to myself. What I mean by that is I didn't realize I wasn't being true to myself. Being true to yourself is taking the mask off and saying, that hurts. This sucks. I'm not happy with this. Telling people how you really feel. We're afraid of upsetting people. We're afraid of losing our job. I'm not saying go hurt someone like physically. I'm not saying go rob a bank. I'm saying you need to, and when this happens at first, you're going to be afraid and uncomfortable. It might be expressing your true emotions to someone. It might be telling your boss that you don't want to do something or you're not we cannot be afraid or uncomfortable how we really feel. So I've been through these and I'm learning more about it. And that's why I want to talk about it. But I'm not okay with, and I don't know. I think it's personal to me because I love people and I want to help people. It's a passion of mine. But I think it's really disappointing when you see people who talk about these things, but they're consistently doing something just to like maintain. They're not really being true to themselves. They're not really, I think there's a fear. People are afraid of failing, afraid of not being liked. So my fears were my self-worth issues I had, or, I'm still working. I don't want to say I'm still working. I feel freer than usual, but no one can judge us. We're judging ourselves. And so when someone like, let's say you go on a date, I think dating and love life is a very quick, easy way because it's all self-love. When you go on a date, it doesn't work out. When you take it personally for like weeks, oh, I don't want to, it's like we're all getting hurt. And we have to recuperate to do it again. And it's like, no, all right, that person wasn't it. Go on another date. People get upset because things aren't happening. And usually when things don't happen a certain way, we have to look at why they're not happening. All right, I feel good for a week and a half and then something happens. We have to analyze ourselves in a healthy way. And that's in a unconditional, non-judgmental way. Excuse me. But a lot of this is not avoiding ourselves. And that's what I'm really like, my goal here is sharing with you and what I want to help you with today, not avoiding yourself. And let me explain this. So I have ADHD and I'm learning more. And if you don't, it's fine. I'm just giving you an example. I'm learning more about ADHD. I've had ADD my whole life. ADD and ADHD they combined it for some reason. I don't know why. It's stupid to me. ADD is when you are not as motivated. At the same time, you have lack of energy, lack of focus. Whereas ADHD has a hard time focusing, but has a lot of energy, can't sit still. They're like polar. They're like from the same point, but they have polar opposites. You know, one will smoke some herb to calm down, where the other one, if you smoke, it kind of drags you down more. But depending on what herb you're smoking, it might lift you up. You know what I'm saying? But I have ADD. And ADD for me, for a while, I had an addiction to Adderall, which I want to talk about in another episode. But, you know, it did help, but also had a lot of flaws for me. So I'm learning over the past, it's almost been a year clean. September, around, no, it's been a year. It's actually been a year. Wow, I didn't think about it. It's been a year. I'm a year clean. I don't know. Sometimes I don't. Wow, I didn't think about it. I love myself. Good for me. So anyways, I had to learn how to motivate myself, learn how to pick myself up better, do certain things. And honestly, I'm learning more over the past couple months than I have about ADHD. I didn't realize how much of me is really ADHD. I have that. It's like my personality. But for example, like there's doom piles. I don't know what to do with this stuff, so I'll put it over here. There's times where, like right now, if you look at my bed, I was like, I'm gonna put these clothes away later. I've gotten a lot better with doing it now. Do it now. One of my favorite videos I've seen on TikTok or whatever is, here's an ADHD trick. It's like, put it away now or something like that. They'll have like spices, pick it up, put it away now. Like it's just, you're doing it in the now. But a lot of the ADHD as well is like lack of motivation and self-worth issues, being around people and not, feeling, you feel like you're not liked or something. It's a lot of weird stuff. And I thought it was me growing up. I thought ADD was just like lack of focus, but the both of it, it's really, ADHD or ADD. There's stimulation issues or stimulation personality things. I make noises. I'll do things. And so I guess what I'm really saying is I'm learning to understand that, and I'm not a fan of some of the people do this too, and please don't do it, where you label it and make it like a flaw of yours and it's a crutch. Oh, I just have ADHD. I'm a Pisces. Don't do that to yourself, please. I'm not saying that all Pisces are annoying. I'm an Aquarius Pisces cusp, but holla, Aqua Gang. I'm a February Aquarius. When we get all detailed with the charts and stuff. I'm a February Aquarius. I'm not a January Aquarius. Some of you are cool. Some of you are a little not so cool. But my point about having ADHD is, instead of me like putting this as a crutch or a label or a restriction, I'm embracing it. And I feel like no matter who you are, labels or not, embrace who you are. Because once you start embracing this part of you, right, not as a crutch, you can learn to enhance it, work with it, around it, get better at it, love yourself. But through this process, I learned several things. I learned to stop forcing things that weren't bringing me happiness or weren't working for me. I stopped avoiding myself. And I want to really elaborate here about not avoiding yourself. You're not going to want to do this, but I really recommend you practice doing it a little bit at a time, or do something a little bit at a time. What I mean by that is, don't just be on your phone all the time. Don't just like come home and watch TV. Don't distract yourself. People will distract. We'll do this. We'll distract ourselves because we don't want to feel the pain, the sadness, the discomfort. That's why I don't know if you have felt this, whoever's listening, because there's many of you listening. Apparently, yeah, why not? Millions of you are manifesting, right? Work with me here. Anyways, you're going to feel uncomfortable, but you don't realize it. You feel like you're bored or lonely. So no, you're not. It's just that we need to learn how to go within. We live in a world that is so divided and distracted. Look over here, look over there. Let me annoy you over here. Let me talk about this crap over here that's going to piss you off. Let's do this. We're so divided and separated from self. And that's where we need to learn how to go within. And going within is, start meditating, start sitting with yourself. I like talking with myself. One of my favorite things that really helps me going is critical thinking in a healthy way, like curiosity. I wonder. But if you're looking to start somewhere, think about this in layers. You start loving yourself. You're going to start, like, for my spiritual awakening, but it starts with, separating yourself from this world of the 3D, but you start asking yourself real questions. What's going to really make you happy? What do you really need to do? What's really the right answer for you? You know why? Because what happened with me was I remember being really depressed, and I asked a lot of people, I'm not happy. What's your experiences? And of course the universe was like, no, you're not going to find the answer anywhere over here. And later on, it brings you to this final point, which it keeps going. You finally ask some good questions. Why is this so hard for you to do this or that? You start getting real good answers and real good clarity, because you start really understanding that you have to go within yourself. You have to learn who you really are. Look, for 28 years, I didn't know who I was, which is crazy to say. But then I was going through an experience where I was finally learning to understand who I am and what I like and what I love and what I want. And it's not easy at first. You're like, oh, I like this. No, like, really, like, start to get to know yourself more than you ever did before. Why do you like that? Why do you talk with yourself more? Why do you like getting coffee? Don't just be like, oh, I like coffee in the morning. I like that. I just, tastes good. What do you like? Go deeper. Because the thing is, we all want to be with someone, meet people that get us, but then we don't even get ourselves. You want to be with people or friends that really appreciate you, but we don't really appreciate ourselves. And my point about this whole thing is, stop looking external for answers. I mean, I'm here externally from yourself, but I'm also, the truth is, a part of you. How so, Joe? What? No way. You're a magician? What? I'm a magician? I'm cool? The thing is, we all come from source. God, source, creator. I'm a piece of that energy. You're a piece of that energy. So somewhere, I'm a part of you, helping me. We're helping each other. Teamwork makes the dream work. But my point is, depending on how you're looking at people and scenarios, your love life, people, whoever's hurting you and upsetting you and draining you of your energy, and you're upset and the whole thing keeps going. A lot of times we're looking for people to give us what we really need to give ourselves. And then we give people what we really need to give ourselves. And I think this was frustrating for me for a while, because most of you know, you're like, you get it, but you don't. You're like, yeah, and it feels like for a long time that you're living this life, what I call the outer being is what you're experiencing in reality. But then you become aware of your inner being, which is your inner self, which is another part of you. But I like to look at it as two pieces of the one, right? The inner part of you is your thoughts, your feelings, getting in tune with you that's more connected to source. And a lot of us do this thing where we're very too external for too long. So think about it as well as, like, you're going against the current. You're going in a whole different direction now. So you're like, it's going to be a struggle because you're not used to it. I don't know if my dog's barking right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it in this audio. It's kind of annoying, but we're going to work through it. No, it doesn't. It's not showing up. That's great. Good. You don't hear my dog barking. Great. If it doesn't show up in my audio. But my point about this is that the more I've learned about ADHD or myself, it's my self-discovery. And it brought me to not needing to do things, right, that it wasn't bringing me anywhere that I wanted to go with it. I was pushing for doing things in ways that I needed to stop doing. And I sat with myself. Look, in the long term, it's just who we are, right? I'm with myself. If I feel unhappy, if I'm not in alignment, it's my duty to find that out. Why? So I chose to, but the funny thing, it really started with speaking my truth. Telling people no, it's like boundaries. When you start putting boundaries with people, it's not only with people, you're starting to respect yourself. You're starting to love yourself and say, no, I refuse to do that. Why? Because you are valuable. You're worth X, Y, and Z. And my energy was being expended more than I was willing to give, and I wasn't being compensated for that correctly. There's people that I stepped away from because I'm like, what is the goal here with this person? The other thing that I started doing was I told some people, and I said this in the other episode too, I'm tired of not being able to speak my truth to someone because I'm afraid if you're not going to understand, you're going to feel hurt or upset. You know what? The truth is that a lot of people need to hear that truth, and a lot of people need to hear it, and how they want to accept it or not is not your fault, not your problem. You're being true to yourself. What is being true to yourself? Being true to yourself is, this is how I feel, this is what I think, and this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to say. When you're not true to yourself, you're not in alignment. You're being something other than what your truth is. And I want to kind of rephrase this one more time. If I don't like this brand of, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to put brand. There's a bottle here. Well, you can't. You guys, some of you are listening and not seeing the video. If you are a crystal, right? And I'm looking at a crystal. I'm looking at amethyst. And you start acting completely different than amethyst, you're not being true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you're the sun and you're like, oh, you have the characteristics and personality of a sun versus the moon. I'm just giving you hypothetical examples, and I have a rabbit tattoo. Just be true to who you are. Being true to who you are is how you feel, what you think, what you want to say, what you want to do. And I say this because, again, I've experienced it in my own way where I was trying to people please. And I realized, months ago, I remember talking about it. I'm tired of people pleasing. But it's funny because I'll say things and I don't realize what the depth to it till later on. I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't realize like how deep it really went. But my point was, keep learning about who you are. Stop being afraid of who you are. You're going to evolve over time. But in order to evolve, we have to experience. We have to take the experience given to us, take the learning experiences that we're going through, and implement it. The more you learn, the more you're going to want to say no. The more you're going to want to say yes. The more you're going to be afraid to make a decision. You have to learn how to go in the direction that it's most resistant or uncomfortable sometimes, because that's really where we need to go, and or do or say or be, because otherwise we're staying in a comfortable loop that's really not bringing you anywhere. You're staying comfortable wanting change but not getting the change. And I'm seeing this different ways, and I really want to talk about it. I have different people that I've seen around me where they're holding on to someone that isn't changing. This irritates me. And I say this with love, like whoever, you could be similar. And I'm just taking what I feel, I'm processing it, I'm putting it in words of direction, and then I let it go. Speak my truth about it, and then I move on. It's like therapy for me. Why hold on to someone, wanting them to love you, if you aren't loving yourself and they're not changing? Why do we do that? Why do we hold on mentally and emotionally, wanting them to eventually care? Like, let's say they don't care about you. Let's say someone doesn't care about you. Why is this such a thing for someone to hold on? Drives me nuts, man. We have to learn sometimes to let people go. Because maybe they're not the person for you. Maybe they're not the friend they are anymore. Why are we waiting for someone to give us the love or apology, whatever it is. But we're not all, a lot of, mainly it's not, people aren't loving themselves. We need to love ourselves. Loving ourselves is realizing we don't need to keep waiting for someone to give us what we want. We have to let someone go. It goes in different scenarios too. The other scenario is expecting. Why do we keep expecting people to give us what we want? We have to learn how to communicate. We have to learn how to express, like, this is how I feel. We live in a world where we think like they're going to know us so well. Like they could, but sometimes you need to be able to, or we need to be able to express and talk. Hey, one of my favorite things I've learned and watched someone discuss with their relationship was they share their percentage, their battery, like I'm at a level 9, I need your help. Teamwork, but there's so many different variations to getting to a place. But again, you have to learn to love yourself. And that's what I'm doing too. We're all getting better at loving ourselves. But I kind of find it in a way where, regardless of feminine or masculine, because we all carry the energy, but in a reality of physical matter, there's different body structures, right? But regardless of that, I love everyone, but we have to stop diversifying and blaming other parties for not healing themselves. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm a male, regardless of your gender, because this has nothing to do with, in my opinion, gender. We have to stop blaming or explaining that it's the other person, regardless of gender or not. They're not healing themselves. The truth is that if you're triggered by something, life's happening to you for you. What is it about that person that you need to reflect on yourself about? So, for example, if which I don't do, and I'm like, oh, this person, this female that I'm dating, okay, but there's differences to this too, by the way. If I'm constantly being frustrated and it's a pattern, there's something about my feminine energy that I need to heal. I want you to pay attention to this. If there's a repeating pattern, you need to learn to reflect on it. There's times where you just know, for example, this person needs to, you already know. You see it, you feel it, you know it. Do I need to reflect on it? Not really. It's not a repetitive pattern to me. There's things that are going to trigger us and bother us. Trigger is a different word. Things are going to annoy us, but for me, I'm learning, I know what I need to focus on in order to transition it, transmit it, use it. Some people put their anger into music. This is where I'm putting that annoyance. I'm making it into golden nuggets for you. You're welcome. But sometimes we do, for example, people that I've disconnected from, I've reflected on it. We have to be mature enough to reflect and sit with it. I want people to understand, and would like people to understand, there's different levels and perceptions to different things. Therapy, law of attraction, things that are in a pattern or looping. I feel like a lot of people are like, they're unhappy and then they go back to quote unquote loving themselves, which is not really helping them, because it's a habit now. It's an unhealthy habit where maybe it's food, it's hygiene. Self-love is hygiene, but self-love is learning about yourself on deeper levels, mentally and emotionally, to go within yourself to correct, evolve, or learn more than just where you've been or what you've been doing. And learning to go beyond the physical and transition transcend is the word I'm looking for. Transcend differences and things. Being able to look at people, the collective, your family, your friends, your situations, and being able to shift into a different dimensional perception of unconditional love to go, okay, what is it about this I need to understand? But I feel like a lot of people, and over time, I hope that things change, but we need to learn to sit with ourselves. We need to learn to observe things better. We need to stop blaming genders and they're not healing, or look, man, sometimes we need to realize, like, maybe you're acting this way because you're not comfortable or confident. Maybe you're still hurt because of something. A lot of times, look, and I'm going to say it again. Many times of myself, I've thought I was healed, but it really wasn't. It takes time. Sometimes things take time. You don't realize it. You think, oh, it's good. And then you start crying because you realize like it's connected to something that wasn't healed. You didn't grieve it. You know, relationships that end it could be like a grieving process. People, situations. It doesn't have to be a death. You know, it's a death of that energy. The love that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Things that just I wanted to get out, I wanted to talk about, and I brought it here to the podcast. Episode 3. I don't know what I'm calling it yet. But learning to take yourself in a responsible manner and your insecurities, your worries, your doubts, your feelings, speak your truth to yourself, be honest with yourself, journal it, channel it. You know, for me, I found at times, you know, oh, that's a self-worth issue. It's not all easy and fun. This is like processes of months that I've been able to share with you in like this hour. But and over the past week or so, it's evolving. But for me, my goal is to speak my truth no matter what fears come up, say it how I want to say it, express myself the way I want to express myself. My goal and intention is to bring this forward to not only help embrace other people to do so as well, but to help with maybe your thoughts and feelings and other ways you can observe it. But yeah, I feel like a lot of it came out better than I could imagine, as usual. Everything always works out better than I can imagine. But I did want to talk about ADHD a little bit more. But before I do that, I think there's some other things I wanted to share too or address. When it comes to like friends and my energy, I love myself enough to pull myself away from constant conversations with people. I used to talk with a lot of people. I respect my energy. I love myself. I disconnected from people or no longer entertain bullshit relationships. If I have to really explain everything, certain times I'm like, you know what? Is it even worth me speaking my truth to this person? Because I already know it's not worth it. But I just decided, honestly, there's other people that I was like, we barely talk. Leave me alone. If you're not a part of my life in some way, I don't need to entertain you. I don't need to have you around. You don't need to see my life. I have not that I need anything from people, but I'm at a place where if you don't contact me once in a while as like friends, you know, over time, oh, hey, how you been? If we don't converse that often, if we haven't had some sort of, I'm no longer really going to keep you around. Like I remove you off my Facebook. Not that it really matters, but I'm just saying like, I'm not explaining to everyone nor do I need to be. I honestly got tired of people they're like, yeah, you can share your links in my group. I hate Facebook groups. I really do. I can't stand them, spiritually wise. Everyone's doing the same bullshit. They're card readings that it's not my thing. I love everyone. Like, do what makes you happy, but it's not my thing. And then my favorite is like, oh yeah, you can share your links in my group. And then I'll help them. I'll check out so-and-so's group. Then there's like 5 shared links that I've had because I decided that I was going to remove myself that didn't go anywhere. They were pending still. Bro, I can share my stuff, but you can't approve it? What? Regardless, I just got tired. Not just that, people stopped showing up. Not that I'm expecting people to support everything I do, but don't just show up out of nowhere and then like think we're cool. We're not cool. You know what? We barely talk. And I'm tired of people pleasing. I'm tired of especially being there for friends when they're not really my friend and we just barely talk. So bye. One of my other things was I got really annoyed with some people too. I got really, really frustrated. I feel like there's something with people being fake and annoying. They want to seem like, and I can feel the energy. They want to seem like they're super cool. Oh, but they're really fucking annoying. It's like people who just want to like feel important, but they're really not. And they're trying to be, I'd rather you be real. Oh man, I'm not. Be real. Don't be messaging me all the time, commenting all my stuff, and you're not being like, just sometimes it's just boundaries. And I feel like some people cross my boundaries with certain things. And I was like, no, set. Bye. And you know what? I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better with talking about this on the podcast on Abandoned Planet. I feel better disconnecting from people because you know what? The truth is, at least I'm being true to myself. I am not expecting anything from anyone. I am not trying to be anything other than myself. And I had a great weekend this past weekend. I met people from all different types of areas of life. And it's just cool to just hang out and and get out of my way. And that experience this weekend really helped me like put into practice. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. I just need to be happy with myself. Remember, as always, when it's new to you, it's going to be uncomfortable. Fear of the unknown is always because it's new. It's the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. So when you try something new, when you're going in a new direction, again, it's like going against the current. It's new to you. You don't need to know everything right away. But in order to be someone, the version of you that you want to be, you're looking for, sometimes you have to realize certain things, and those things come with choices. Those choices go from small to more awareness. Start reading more books or doing different things that call to you. You have to shift your perception and attention away from your reality of what's going on in the world and social media and start really asking yourself, who do you want to be? And start thinking in ways of what does that person know or need or do that I need to align with? And that alignment is new habits. It's new personality, changing from being this version of you that is masking things to being fearless. Whatever version that is, remember, there's a change. And that change comes with what once was and now is. It's a death and a rebirth. And it gets uncomfortable. That transition period can be uncomfortable. But I want to really emphasize this and say this very clearly. I do really care about people and I love people. And I don't want anyone to ever feel when listening to this or watching this, whether you know me or not, that you can't contact me or you can't have a conversation with me. It's just more or less what I'm sharing with you in this is being proud and being powerful to be who you are, learning to love yourself, learning to not be afraid of people pleasing and all that, learn to be happy with who you are. But when it comes to being who you are, I personally let go of being misunderstood. If you want to know about me, you want to get to know me, you want to be on my front, fine. But there's also me not being able to set boundaries. Do I want to make friends? Yeah. Do I want to be there for people? Sure. I can't be there in a capacity for everyone. There's certain people that, I'll be there for and I'm close friends with, but I think that there's this sense of people feeling disappointed. And would we love to be friends with certain people or have more friends around? And yes, but to some capacity, I personally can't. And I think that this goes for everyone. You can't always be there for everyone. And I think this kind of bothered me a little bit. I'm going to wrap it up with this. I like being friends with people, and I've been there for many people. And there's just certain times and situations where I'm just not meant to be a part of everyone's life in a certain way. And this is why I like doing what I do here or whatever I've done on social media. This is a better way for me to reach more people. You're my friend in a way. We're friends now. But when it comes to my personal life, I've learned to love myself and respect my energy so much that there was once upon a time where I would answer every phone call, every text message, and I loved it. I loved the attention. I loved being there. But now I don't want to be liked by everyone. I don't care to be liked by everyone. It's not that I want to be liked or not. It's that I like my personal time. I like my personal space. I love myself. And so a part of me felt kind of like a disappointed someone or people where I know that I can bring this like ball of sunshine and hope to people and make you feel good, but I know that I can't be there for everyone. And I felt kind of guilty in a way where as much as I want to, I can't do it in a capacity in which I think was kind of hoped for. And I think there comes a point where it's not that I'm belittling anyone, or it's that I need to respect myself and I need to be able to know where I'm at and communication wise and energy wise. I don't mind being friends with people, but I can't be there for certain capacities. And I think certain people are wanting more out of certain situations. And I felt bad. I felt bad because as much as I want to give love and help, love is not just like, love from relationship. It's people. This is love. I think that we all have our learning experiences and lessons. And how do you teach someone to love themselves? And I think that's the whole unconditional love thing. It's that people get upset when you don't give them what they want. Not that people are begging or, different scenarios, but things do bring in sadness and upset, feelings. People will upset you. You might not get the love you want from your relationship. But how are we ever going to really finally get to a point of loving ourselves? And I think that this is the difficulty people have, is that it's not that your friends don't care. It's not that you don't, you're lonely, or it's that we really need to learn to love ourselves so much and in ways that we can make steps in healing and awareness and be able to laugh with ourselves. And I find that people like myself at times, I've gotten back up, I felt good, but then there's like this difficulty and you have to learn to go through the difficulty. What's the next thing? The next level? I used to wake up every morning. I feel like every day with ADHD it's a new routine and I don't know the routine. And it sucked. I said it in two ways at once. It sucked and it sucks. But I'm learning to appreciate myself and love myself where, every day it feels like I have to constantly find the right pattern for the day, instead of from some people are like, every day it's good, or whatever. It is what it is. And for me, it feels like every day I got to figure out the puzzle to fulfill my day and be happy and all that. And not every day is going to be happy, but my point is to be content and whatever. It feels like a mess, an unorganized, beautiful mess. But my point is I love myself. And it's okay. That's an unorganized, beautiful mess because I'm doing my best at learning to better the routine, or, oh, this is what I need to do for that. Love yourself. Otherwise, no one will truly love you until you love yourself. How is someone supposed to meet you at a level of love that you have not been aware of for yourself? Some people will be like, well, I love someone so much, but you aren't. How much? Okay. It's like receiving a gift, but you've never really received that gift for yourself to give yourself. So you don't really receive that gift properly. And that's why people get upset when it's too late and things move on. It's miss it when it's gone type of thing, because you actually learn more through the pain. That's what this is all about. Learning through the discomfort, getting better at things, learning to shift out of it and evolve with it. But I feel some type of way about learning to put boundaries, because I enjoy being there for people and I enjoy being a best of help. But when sometimes certain things happen where you can only do so much. And I think that's what I'm trying to say. You can only be there to so much extent for someone. You know, what really, and I say this with love too, there's times where people will repeat the woe is me shit. Oh yeah, I'm trying, and it's like they're not willing to really do what they need to do. They're just giving up, and I don't like that. But I also know, like, I can't entertain certain things because it's not going to help the person. Sometimes people need to realize on their own in a different way, so somewhere else, that we as individuals or friends or people can't keep entertaining that, because it's almost as if you're what's the words for it? You're enabling. You know, it's okay to give people love. It's okay to, but certain times, you know, it's, for me, it's the time of day. What am I doing? Is it personal time? That's usually where, and I know that people can't afford certain things. Like I do private lessons, I do private sessions, I do readings and all that. But this is my point of why I do what I do here. I share what's on my mind, what I'm learning, what I'm going through. And I think that's my whole message right now, is that there's an outlet for what I do for people. And then there's also my personal space. And as much as I want to, you know, love everyone, I do. But we all need to respect ourselves and understand how that is being given throughout the world. Some people write books. Some people do podcasts. Some people do videos. And it's not that I don't want to be everyone's friend, or it's that I can't help you in a certain capacity, but I'm willing to be able to do it freely through the podcast or private work. And I don't know, I think it bothered me a little bit. Like I do care, and I did care. And there's certain people like that were a friend of mine, and as much as I really want to help, they really disrespected me. And I know that I can't bring them to where they really could be. And that sometimes is going to therapy. Therapy's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's really good. So I want to thank you for listening to the podcast. This is episode 3 on Abandoned Planet. If you don't already know, my name's Joe, and I go by the name A Millennial's Third Eye. And I really appreciate you guys following me on my journey, if you have, or listening to the podcast now. I don't know where this is really going. All I do know is that I'm really excited that I'm speaking my truth, sharing with you how I feel, my learning experiences as a spiritualist or a person or a human. It's really why I did Abandoned Planet. Abandoned Planet, so some of you may know or find out that I originally started this journey as A Millennial's Third Eye, which is who I am. And I kind of looked at that more as my spiritual self in a way, but then I kind of had difficulty with things, and I was like, you know, I'm Joe, and I didn't understand how I wanted to move forward, and I didn't know how to let go, and all these different things. Abandoned Planet came in a way of creativity, where it's a thought in a viewpoint where your mind is the abandonment. You're letting go of in the old, and letting go has been a challenge for me. Letting go of the matrix, the 3D world, which you have known so far, and in a fun way, being able to be a playful thought on how you're really living your life and experiencing it. And we're going to go talk into so many different things, I'm sure. But that's why I chose Abandoned Planet. That's why I'm here now. And the reason why I also did that is because this is more open to kind of a mixture of everyone. How we're looking at life and experiencing with everything. I think that spirituality can box in a lot of things for people, even though I'm a psychic intuitive, a metaphysical life coach, a comedian at times, and a friend, and I can talk about different stuff. This is where it's open to more people. We don't have to just have this one thing in common. We can talk about so many different things, but feel free to always comment on YouTube. You can comment on the video. You could feel free to message me or say somewhere in the comments, I don't know where, but if you're enjoying this, I don't care if you like it or not. I love it. I'm doing it for fun. That's the whole thing. Love yourself, be empowering yourself. But yeah, I like to hear it. I like to hear what you think about it. But at the same time, like we were talking about before, it makes me happy in the long run. That's the whole point that matters. When you are loving something you're doing, it gets complicated when you're trying to do it for money or success. It can come, but it can ruin it too. For me, I kind of learned before I was having fun, but then at the same time, I got kind of lost with the money thing. And then for quite some time, I didn't understand it for a long time, but I didn't appreciate things. I didn't have the balance of things. I lost the passion for things. So right now, this is, and it will be for forever, where I speak my truth, talk about different things, share experiences, but this is a passion. I love what I'm doing. It's a creative flow. Thank you for watching and listening. See you on the next timeline, dimension, travel, wherever that is. Peace.